So, it's been a little over a day or so now since the release of Crimson Desert, and it's kind of got people divided. But we've got our first DEVS moment here, a devs listened moment pretty much off the bat, and it's around controls within the game, because it's definitely an area where I think most people are having some issues, and some people are having rather bad issues on PC and on pad as well. And this is a game that when you boot it up on PC, prompts you to use a pad off the get-go, and that's usually a bit of an indicator of what you're going to experience as a PC player. And as somebody who grew up playing on consoles, but now specifically and uniquely playing on PC, I don't really like using a pad anymore unless I'm doing a driving game or a fighting game, basically. Usually, I want to stay to mouse and keyboard, and this game is no different for me. But it definitely has some oddities in the controls. I wouldn't say they're necessarily bad, if I'm honest, personally, but they're just weird, a little bit different, and they do feel a little bit odd. And as somebody who is left-handed and plays with the mouse in my left hand, I know a lot of people are like, what? So for me, my right hand is on the keyboard, and it's the opposite way to most people would usually use the keyboard. So things like having a combo keybind with Alt and something else is usually a little bit uncomfortable for me. So it's obviously one of those things that off the bat, I'm rebinding. And like most PC players, you're going to find your most comfortable keybinds, but this game is it's quite different in how the controls are set up to most games. So it's going to feel a little bit alien anyway. You know, a lot of games typically try and have things quite similar, you know, quite cookie cutter, if you will. This game really doesn't do that. And as I say, they're not necessarily bad, but you just need to remember a lot of different key combinations, and they're not exactly what you would say is intuitive sometimes. So it's really good to hear that we're getting a tweet from the devs saying they are listening to feedback and they're doing the best to make improvements to the game. In particular, it says they're aware of the discomfort many players have experienced with the controls, and they're currently preparing a patch to address this. And they also want to apologize for not providing keyboard and mouse players with a satisfactory gameplay experience. So I'm really happy to see this, and I'm really happy to see that we're going to be getting a patch rolled out to improve this, because definite W, and that's something I'd like to see, because I think this is an actually really good game. And some of the actual controls I'm kind of a big fan of. It's missing little things though, like hotkeys for specific things like to your inventory, unless I'm missing something, but you can't do that. You can like hold escape that brings up a little hot menu that allows you to go to the last menu you was in, or quickly access more of the sub menus, because the UI, I think, I don't want to say it's overly complex, but it feels a little bit cumbersome, and that kind of gives you like a quick access version of it, which is just, again, it's different, it's a bit weird, like, and I think that's the main thing with the controls in this game. I wouldn't go so as far to say they're trash like some people are, but they're odd, like they're really quite unique, and probably not unique in a really good way, but more unique in a just different way that I think maybe is a bit difficult to get used to. I actually find the combat really enjoyable in this game personally, and that's one of the most important things in a game like this, because if you're here for an RPG story experience such as The Witcher, this game is not going to be that for you. It's more of a sandbox adventure, make your own adventure game, if you will, which I think he does a really, really good job at that. So, you know, the controls and the experiences that you have are important, right? You know, just little things like interacting with like the little grappling thing that you've got that allows you to interact with puzzles and mechanics within the map can feel a little bit cumbersome sometimes. So hopefully we get some tweaks to things like that. I don't know how that feels on pad, because I feel like that would be really, really awkward on pad. It's not the worst thing in the world on PC, but it is a little bit like, it just feels cumbersome. That's probably the best word I could use. And that's probably the best word I could use for a lot of the control systems in this game. Cumbersome probably would be the right word to use. But again, I wouldn't go as far to say the trash like some people do, right? Again, it's just this different. But one thing I do actually really want to glaze, other than the fact that the devs are working quickly by the looks of this to recognize our feedback and work on it, is this, like, you know, where you've got the control mode for guard and aim, how you can go into this kind of like focused aimed mode for jumping. I love it. I'd love to see more games like this do that, because this is a game that it's not like super tight like a platform parkour type game is. At first I thought this was on Unreal 5 the way it felt, but people said it's actually an engine developed by the devs, I believe, right? But it kind of had that feeling, you know, the Unreal sort of feeling sometimes, where sometimes certain things feel a little bit floaty. I don't want to say that, like, there's massive delay, but it almost feels like there is sometimes. Having this focus ability for me, massive. Like, it really allows you to have finite control on your character, jump into particular spots, like really, really small little ledges, which is really, really nice to have in a game like this. And it's such a great QOL in terms of traversal mechanics. I'd love to see more games doing this. Like, yesterday, when I first started playing, I was actually kind of blown away by it. I was like, damn, this is actually massive. Dude. Okay. Do you know the actual fucking mantle in here is pretty fucking good. That is. Not many games do this in regards to where it comes to interacting with the environment. Because, like, obviously I can just jump on stuff, right? But if I hold control, it gives me this finite control to actually jump towards a particular point. So that's actually fucking kind of cool, man. I'm trying to think off the top of my head which games have really done that. You guys will have to let me know, because I can't remember off the top of my head other games that have done it. So, you know, you can definitely tell they've really thought about specific things. And you can tell with this game, they've thought about the controls right. I just think that maybe they've overthought the controls, if that makes sense. It does feel like some controls seem to stack up on top of each other in a weird way, which really allows for mistakes. But again, I suppose that's a learning curve, right? I think this is one of those games that starts off easing you into stuff, and then it really just lets it go, and it's like figure it out kind of attitude, which again, I'm here for it, right? It's nice to have a game that's not your typical Ubisoft follow the markers and 52 different bits of UI on your screen to let you know what you're doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So that is definitely a good thing. But yeah, it's good to see the devs are actually working on improving controls, because this seems to be a consistent consensus, right? That people have got issues with the controls. A lot of people are asking about UI improvements as well, inventory improvements and stuff like that, which I agree would definitely help, right? I do definitely think hotkeys should be a thing. Let me know, am I just being stupid about the hotkeys? Because, I don't know, I think that should be there, and I'm not seeing it right. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. I might be tripping. But yeah, hotkeys, of course, on PC, quick access to your journal, quick access to your skills, everything, you know, your character, your inventory, all those sort of things should be there, right? So I don't have to go through sub-menus, because who wants to do that when I've got a freaking keyboard with all those keys to allow me to do it instantly, right? So yeah, I think overall, though, I think the game's launching a really good spot, personally. On PC, I'm running a 13900K and a 4090, and it's been running beautifully. The draw distance is insane. The visuals are pretty good, in my opinion. I'm loving the map. I'm loving exploration. As I say, the combat for me so far has been enjoyable, impactful, visceral. Would be even better with better controls. The story itself, it doesn't really matter, right? As I say, I think if you're here for a Witcher experience, you're not going to get that, right? You're not getting the Red Dead operatic kind of storyline here. But what you're getting is a really cool sandbox with a lot of things to do, a lot of systems, a lot of tools to operate within this sandbox that gives you a lot of fun, right? So I think if that's the sort of thing you enjoy, I think you'll get a lot out of this game, personally. I'm glad I picked it up. I don't regret it at all. You know, we saw the IGN review that only gave it a 6. And we saw a lot of people being quite critical of the game, actually saying it's trash, which I don't get that personally. I don't know if it's either the early on tutorials and a lot of systems, because this game has a lot of systems, and I think the modern gamer doesn't like it, that argue for more. But when they are given more, I think a lot of modern gamers actually don't like more. They want to trick themselves into thinking they want more, but what they actually want is curated experiences. And I think this game gives you an adventure. I think this is what this game is all about. It gives you an adventure. And I think, to be fair, learning the controls is a bit of an adventure at the minute, which, again, as I say, I do think that's something that definitely needs working on. I'd probably say at the minute, 3 things: controls, bugs, storage. Probably the main thing. Firstly, the controls, right? So it's good to hear that they are working on that. One thing I've seen people really complaining about, which I get it. People hate AI, right? And of course, we don't want AI taking jobs away from people who could be creating beautiful pieces of work, right? But I've seen people complaining about AI paintings within this game because I noticed that a horse's legs were off and they'd used AI for a painting on a wall within a building. In a game like this, I've got to admit, I don't really see that as a major problem, if I'm honest. Like, it's a silly little throwaway picture in the background. You know, I'm just not here to fight that fight, but I'm really happy to see that we are getting improvements on the controls. And overall, I think this has been a great launch, man. We need more games like this, personally. These games that give us an experience, an adventure, a journey, rather than these modern curated games that just really don't feel like games anymore, if that makes sense. So I'm actually having a blast with this game. I think it's a definite recommendation for me. But again, a lot of people are going to look at this and see it as a Witcher type game, right? They're going to think, oh, that's the experience I'm going to get. It's not going to give you that experience. If you enjoyed the exploration and the world and the adventure that comes in those games, then you'll like it. But if you're expecting an amazing story to drag you in, to pull you in, and to really get you invested off the get-go, you're not going to get that here, right? The experience is the game itself, if I'm honest. Like I say, this adventure sandbox, and I think it's done a good job so far. You know, that first bit when you're doing the exploration on the parkour in the sky as well, really enjoyable. Having the wings to fly. Apparently there is some crazy stuff in the game. Jetpacks, there's trains. I haven't seen that yet, but it seems like they've just threw everything into this game. Some people won't like that, but so far, for me, the systems have all been done well. Like, you can throw this grappling net, right? You can pull people towards you, or you can pull yourself towards them. And you do have like a force push move as well. So I can't wait till I've got all those unlocked, so I can force push people off a cliff, yank them back, and then, you know, do whatever. If that works, anyway, we'll have to see. And we'll have to see if I'm capable of doing it with this control scheme, because as I say, a little bit complex at the minute, but hopefully that'll be different when they fix it, and it'll be fixed by the time I get to there. But yeah, man. Yeah, guys. I'm really impressed with Crimson Desert so far. Again, only a few hours in, but I definitely think this is a great game. I'm looking forward to experiencing more, and I can't wait till the game just leaves me to my own devices. I like that sort of stuff. I like to fall into adventures in these sort of worlds, and I'm looking forward to doing that in the hours to come within Crimson Desert. But yeah, I just wanted to post this, that it's nice to see the devs have responded to feedback early, and a very critical piece of feedback within the control scheme as well, which, of course, if a game doesn't feel good to play, the game isn't good to play, right? So this is really good to hear, because a lot of people have really been having issues with the controls. And I think after that, the next thing would be to jazz up the UI a little bit, give us some hotkeys to take us to specific things, and yeah, just maybe smooth that overall experience, and then get to work on bugs and such. That's my opinion anyway. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think down below about Crimson Desert. I've been having an absolute blast. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all in the next one. Yeah.